Alberta Primetime with Michael Higgins.
Welcome to Alberta Primetime. Ahead tonight, our politics panel on the Premier's response to this week's wave of criticism. But first, overhauling auto insurance.
But let me stress, fault still matters. The system will still ensure that bad drivers are held accountable through higher premiums, and Albertans would still be able to sue an at-fault driver in certain circumstances.
Under legislation introduced Monday, insurers would pay out based on compensation rates set by the province, with exceptions being made in the case of serious driving offences. The minister also believes the new no-fault model could save Alberta motorists hundreds of dollars a year on premiums. Joining us now, Jackie Halpern of the Alberta Civil Trial Lawyers Association. Ms. Halpern, good to see you again. Welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me. Okay,
well, and you've been on previously addressing opposition to the prospect of no-fault auto insurance. Now that details of the overhaul are out, what do you make of what the government is describing as a care-first system?
Well, we're very opposed to we call it a no-fault system. I think it's called Care First, but the devil is in the details. We're deeply concerned that Bill 47, as introduced this week, really moves Alberta down the path towards a no-fault system.
And what are the consequences of that? Why is that a worry?
Well, it really takes away the opportunity, the availability to a fundamental right of Albertans to sue, except in really exceptional circumstances, only when there's a conviction of certain criminal offenses, and that's really rare. That takes years to happen. But so just as important is it removes accountability for insurance companies. It gives massive chances to the insurance companies to govern whether a person gets treatment or not without accountability.
Is it not in the most serious of cases, though, where litigation does come into play?
Well, yes, that is true. But right now, even with the system, there are large rights to get treatment and things like that without litigation. You don't need litigation to get treatment, things like that. But, public polling has shown that Albertans are not in favor of a no-fault insurance system.
Where do you weigh in on the claim that it's the cost of litigation that's been driving up insurance rates in the province, and that this is where savings can be found for motorists?
Yeah, legal costs aren't the real drivers. It's actually other things like weather events. The hailstorm last year cost something in excess of $3 billion. Fraud in car thefts, things like that. Those are the real drivers, not legal costs. What the system would do is to hand so much power over to insurance companies. And I don't know if you recall, but just a few months ago, the Alberta Superintendent of Insurance fined Alberta insurers over $3 million for basically for overcharging Albertans, for things. And so this is giving them way more power. And do we trust them to, carry that carefully? We don't.
The government does say an independent tribunal will be established to deal with those appealing benefits provided by insurance companies. Why would that not be an effective tool to fix the problem?
Well, it's funded by insurers, but there's, as it stands now, looking at the legislation, there's no costs allowed to be awarded in that system. So really, it's not a deterrent. How would a person bring a case? If they're going to bring a case, that's a real concern, that there's no cost consequences for an insurance company if they say no. So why not just say no? They're profit driven, and it's a WCB-style system run by private, for-profit insurance companies.
Okay, so maybe on that point, what then do you see coming of the costs to insure vehicles in the province? Finance Minister stated this will lead to reduced premiums.
Yes, well, we're in favor of reduced premiums. I want you to know that we are, but there's a balance. There's lots of things that we're suggesting to the government and working together with them. We're committed to continue working together to, there's a balance. You can increase those care provisions, but not remove the right to sue in all circumstances. There's a balance there.
I'm not sure if you're able to answer this particular question, but I'll ask. How do you see this maybe impacting Albertans who unfortunately end up being involved in collisions outside of Alberta, be that in another province or even another country?
Yeah, well, their insurance in Alberta is what would still stand up for them. So it's the jurisdiction where the collision occurred is what usually the law will apply. So it may not apply to them.
Okay. Well, now, how do you see members of the legal community adapting to this new no-fault system? What will it mean for lawyers catering to the sector?
Well, it's an enormous loss of jobs. It's going to be terrible for lawyers, but it's not about lawyers. It's about vulnerable Albertans. This is about they're the people losing their rights here. And who is going to protect them? Who's going to have a voice for them? So, yeah, lawyers will lose jobs, but people will, it's going to fall back onto people and transfers the costs from insurance company onto everyday Albertans and ultimately the healthcare system and the social assistance system.
These new insurance regulations not taking effect until 2027, we understand. Where do you plan to take this conversation between now and implementation?
We are working hard with the government and presenting options to them to bring this balance. We recognize affordability is a huge concern, but there's a way to have that, reduce those costs and still preserve the rights to sue in many circumstances. That's what we're aiming to do.
All right. We'll have to leave it there. Appreciate your time this evening, Ms. Halpern. Thank you kindly.
Thank you very much.
That's Jackie Halpern of the Alberta Civil Trial Lawyers Association.